And guess what? We got some serious sunshine today because my good friend Bob Vitale is joining us. Hi, Bob.
Hi, Tom.
Thank you for joining us
Sure,
today.
what sunshine I am.
Yes, you are. You look so sunshiny today. Um, Thanks for joining us, Bob. I've known Bob for a long time, and Bob is a very, very talented writer who has worked with Dispatch, who was one of the owners of Outlook magazine, which had a long time run here in Ohio, focused on LGBTQ community and issues. Was the editor for Prism magazine, which was its predecessor. I'm sorry, was followed on, and now is writing for all kinds of publications, Columbus Alive, Columbus CEO, and some others. So we're so lucky to have you, Bob. And Bob has agreed to share his values and superpower, and we're so happy. Can't wait to hear him. And Bob, I'm going to turn it right over to you and let you at it.
All right, thank you. Well, that was a neat exercise, by the way, to really think about your values and share them that way. But I listed mine as family and community, which are incredibly important to me. The two is my family. My mother is in the bottom left with her brother, her parents, and brothers and sisters. They all came from Italy at the end of the 1920s, and I'm very thankful for that. The top picture is my family at a nephew's wedding a few years ago. My mother's seated there in the front. And then the picture with the drag queens is the Ruby Girls in Dayton. That's when I was with Outlook. And at the top left is my partner JJ and I last year. And my values, besides community, I believe in kindness. I know journalists have a reputation of being kind of harsh and critical, but I always try to treat the people I interview, even government officials and CEOs and everyone, with kindness and respect. Inclusion is very important to me. I've worked for publications that I didn't think reflected their communities very well. And I always felt when if I ever ran a publication, my vow was that I didn't want anyone to look at it and not feel they were part of it. So that was very important when I was with Outlook and the last magazine I was with, to make sure they reflected all the parts of our community. And so that leads, I felt my superpower was lifting people up, which I kind of feel as a journalist. I think it was a value my parents gave me. They were both teachers and worked with a lot of kids, and I still meet people when I'm up in Toledo who see my name and remember my father and had my mother in school. So I know they did that for a lot of people. And in journalism, I think everything we do, there was a saying in the turn of the last century, a famous quote about newspapers, that a columnist said that they comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. And I kind of feel that's kind of like John Lewis's quote about good trouble. And I kind of felt that way. I kind of feel like what I write, I want to empower people. When I was in LGBT media, I always felt that we were there for a lot of people who weren't out yet. So I always pictured, young kids who were LGBT, that might have been their lifeline to the community. And I always wanted them to know there was a big community out there behind them. Um, when I covered government, certainly, um, I questioned authority all the time. I believe in holding leaders accountable, either as a journalist or as a citizen or as a community member. Um, so, I think that's been part of my career and part of my values that I grew up with was to lift people up.
Well, that's excellent, Bob. You, I,
My background noise, by the way.
oh, you have a little background noise. That's okay. It just means people have to listen a little harder to your valuable words.
Okay.
So we're good. But I got to tell you, your superpower of lifting people up, and the fact that you're a journalist. Could you share a little bit more about journalism and why it's so important, more important now than ever?
Yeah, it scares me what's happening now. I used to work at the Dispatch, and I still think they do a fantastic job, but it's a fraction of the number of people that are there from the time I was there. I started there 16 years ago. Um, it's really struggling, so I think it's great that we support local journalism, especially. But gosh, not just in times like this, but we really need those eyes and ears. Every time government denies information to people, they're denying it to us. They might tell a reporter they have no comment or refuse to give records to a reporter, but they're refusing to answer to us when they do that as citizens. So I'm thankful that they're there. It hurt me so badly to hear the president call journalists enemies of the people. There's a lot of journalists in a lot of places who give their lives for what they do. So, um, so I really believe in what they do.
Well, so Bob, I want to tell everybody and guarantee that you are not an enemy of the people. You are, you're really a hero. You have been using the superpower to lift people up for many years, and you have told the story of countless folks all over the community, but as well as in the LGBT community. Folks have read those stories, and I would have to say, and you'll never know the effect you've had. You never get to meet them all, but I would say you probably saved some lives in the process by telling those stories
I hope
and
so.
lifting people up. And so I just want to thank you for your work. I know you personally invested in public and owning a publication and how challenging that was. But the fact that you continue to lean into your superpower, tell stories, you're an excellent writer. And the fact that to know that we have a journalist here, folks, who lives those fantastic values. And I would say most journalists are really trying to get out the stories, get out the truth, and do the right thing. Wouldn't you say, Bob?
Yeah, I encourage people to tell their own stories too. There's so many stories people have to share,
Well, listen, hey, thank you.
and a lot of ways to tell.
I appreciate you sharing your values today and your superpower. And I look forward to reading your stuff for years and years to come. And thanks for sharing with the folks. And Bob, remember, even when it's really damn cloudy out, the sun is always shining. All right?
All
All
right, thank you,
right.
Tom.
All right, Bob. Have a great day. You take care. Bye bye.
You too. Take care.